Okay, are we happy with that? At number 3, so it's kind of weird. This haploid egg gets surrounded by a Graafian follicle, so it's kind of like a fluid-filled bag, and it's this thing that produces the estrogen. So this word, you'll see it. And it's not a misspelling.
Miss, so eggs in the ovary are diploid, but then when ovulation happens, they split?
No, because over here it's potential eggs. So this is like sperm producing cells. They are diploid, and then they undergo meiosis, and now we have our haploid egg. And that egg gets surrounded by this thing called a Graafian follicle, and it is this which produces the estrogen. So we're coming up to day 14. We haven't quite gotten to day 14 just yet.
Got it.
Okay. So as you're getting closer then to day 14, literally what happens on the surface of the ovary, it looks like a blister, and I'll show it to you, and it's decidedly gross, and it's really, really small. But it's a blister, forms on the ovary, and then at ovulation, essentially that blister bursts.
The miracle of childbirth, everyone.
Well, it's not childbirth, but it's getting to the baby making part. Oh, I had 2 videos, but it won't stretch them for me. So I have ovulation captured on film, and I have, I think, the other one, so we might be able to play them. Yeah. And we had already said this yesterday, that the egg is only viable for somewhere between 12 to 48 hours, depending on. Okay, are you happy with that? I can see certain heads. So it's not all over for the ovary then after day 14. So what happens is that Graafian follicle fills with what are called yellow cells, and they call it a corpus luteum. It means yellow body. So corpus is body, and luteum is yellow, and they call it a yellow body. And what it does is that now secretes progesterone. And if you don't get pregnant, then that will disintegrate. But if you do get pregnant, that continues to secrete progesterone until the placenta kicks in. So for females that suffer from bad morning sickness for the first 3 months, it's because the ovary is struggling to do progesterone usually. And once your placenta kicks in, the morning sickness goes away, unless you're exceptionally unlucky.
Miss, I didn't get 4 or 5, sorry.
Okay.
I'll just go back for like 2 seconds, I'll take a screenshot.
Okay, hold on, go back 2 seconds.
Got it, thanks.
Thank you. So the Graafian follicle is very important to know about. That is producing your estrogen prior to ovulation, and then your Graafian follicle becomes your corpus luteum after ovulation. And we'll see it now because we'll look at the hormones that are in the menstrual cycle in a good bit of detail. So we'll see, will these play? Okay, it's going to play. It's perfect. So is it okay to move forward? So we talked about the blister that forms on the ovary. This is essentially it. This part is the blister, and this is the egg being released. It's like something out of, I don't know, a horror movie. And when you consider how really small this is. So I'm going to change my share. Stop share, change share. Hello everybody. Stop share, change share, this one. So this is, New Scientist took it out. It's not deadly exciting now, but it was the first time that ovulation had ever been captured on film. It's about 4 years old.
This is the first ever video footage of ovulation, captured with an endoscope inserted through a cut in a woman's vaginal wall. The patient monitored her temperature and hormones to predict when she was about to ovulate and when to begin the filming. Here you can see the ovary and the end of the fallopian tube covered with finger-like protrusions called fimbriae. A mucus plug containing the egg breaks away from the ovary. The fingers move in time to the woman's heartbeat and become more distinct when they reach for the egg. Eventually, they'll sweep the egg into the fallopian tube, where it will pass into the uterus. The researchers managed to capture this video footage on their first attempt.
So,
to the fallopian tube,
as I said, she's super excited about it. So down here is the fallopian tube, and it beats as the female's heart beats. So these are the little kind of finger-like projections are on it, and you can just about see it. Oh, gotta get it right. It is this little tiny red dot here, which is the blister for ovulation. I have another version of this, which is a kind of animated version of it, but I thought he talked, but maybe he doesn't. So this is just showing you, so that's the Graafian follicle. It bursts out the top, it releases the egg. It then becomes a yellow body in the background, and the fallopian tube fingers will grab it. So this is very pretty in terms of what the reality is. And away it goes on its journey down the fallopian tube. Okay, so that was wild and exciting. Do we have any questions on that? Okay, so this would have played and this would have played. So in terms of meiosis, and we're just talking now about both male and female. So you have this little diagram again, and this is just to remind you. So the sperm and egg producing cells are diploid, and our human diploid number is 46. When they undergo meiosis, they're going to produce haploid sperm and egg cells, and we require at fertilization to make that number 46 again. And once that zygote is formed, it will grow to maturity via mitosis. And we had this word somatic cells, so somatic is anything that isn't a reproductive cell. So we have done this slide way back when we talked about cell continuity, mitosis and meiosis, but we're just putting it here again for completion. So we are missing 3. So Jazz said she had to go, and it's Jackson and Cocky. So here's what I'm going to do. I will stop my share. I will turn off my camera and turn off me. And if you want to have 5 minutes break together, you can. And I will come back. I will check on my boy. Alrighty. So what, can I stop my share? And you can have the chat. So just be nice to each other. So stop share.